That would be the chemically induced one.
Yeah,
they just give you a Mountain Dew.
They right away. They said that's
does.
what kind of pop I want.
Yeah.
Never had that at a doctor before. They usually tell me I drink too much pop. So.
Welcome to MVP, the Messiah Victory Podcast, the #1 Wells Lutheran podcast in Wichita, Kansas. Hosted by Pastors John Rockhoff and Jake Jenswold, MVP is your go-to destination for lively conversation on hot topics with a biblical perspective. It's medical mayhem in today's episode, but the pastors also answer questions about the Nephilim, the difference between following government mandates and acting out of love, and why we don't actually hire pastors. Stay tuned.
We're back again. Man, you got the same shirt on you had last time. So did I. What a coincidence. We just had the same shirts on. It's just so, I wanted to give, because some people are concerned, I had an appointment with my cardiologist because I've been told I have a low heart rate, which means I'm a very calm person. That's not what the medical people tell me.
Or hyperly athletically fit.
But both
marathon runners have low heart rates.
If the shoe fits, kind of thing. So I went in, and I have to go every year to my cardiologist. It's now for the rest of my life, which maybe 3 or 4 more times, and then I'll be with Jesus, and I won't have to in heaven.
And then,
the
gravy train's done.
But I didn't see her name because her name tag was turned around. But the gal that comes in, she says, "Going to have to give you a quick EKG." And then she goes, "You're going to have to pull your shirt up." And then she goes, "Oh boy, I'm going to have to shave." And I go, I'm not a hairy man. I just want to say that. And I said,
she would.
You've had men that have more hair. Oh yes, but this is probably best. And so that's just kind of an awkward thing. I don't know if And she's not like shaving all of it, just a path to put those. I can show you if you want to see. Can you want to see it right now?
That'll be bonus content.
Bonus content.
If you hit describe, you'll see where the patterns are on my chest, and it's instant now because they plug those things in. I'm thinking they go. And then she'll say okay, and then she takes them off, and we're done. And then I see. I think it's they call it the PA. Some gal comes in, a very nice gal, and she's asking. She said, "Do you have any swelling in your legs?" I go, "I don't know, do I?" And she goes, "Well, a little bit." And she goes, "You wear compression socks?" I go, "No, I don't wear those." She goes, "Well, that's good. They really don't do that much." And I go, "Whoa, can I have that in writing? Because my wife tells me I have to wear those, and I keep saying I don't want to wear them." She goes, "No, they really don't help much." And so when I told my wife that, she goes, "I don't believe you." She thinks I made that up. I should have got it in writing. Because even on the way out, this gal goes, "Well, we'll see you next year again, and don't wear those socks." That's what she said. She says, "Don't wear those socks." And so the other doctor came in, and he says, "Well, you're due for a stress test in a year. You do it every 3 years." And he goes, "Can you walk at a treadmill?" And I said, "Whoa."
Low heart rate, doc. I'll run on that.
I said the last time I had one of those chemically induced ones that just start your heart rate like that, and I go, and I just said, "Well, I had one of those." And he goes, "No, you can walk on a treadmill, can't you?" And I go, "Well, you haven't seen me walk, but so that's next year."
Should ask for both.
Because I got a free pop on the last one. They give you a soda right away because you got to get your.
That would be the chemically induced one.
Yeah,
they just give you a Mountain Dew.
They right away. And they said that's what kind of pop I want.
Yeah.
Never had that at a doctor before. They usually tell me I drink too much pop. So, but they said my EKG was fine, my cholesterol level was fine, blood pressure was fine. So anyone concerned about my health, I'm a lot better than I look. So just tip-top shape.
This is not going on the podcast, but you want to guess how much I weighed when I went to the doctor last week?
What you? Me? What?
Me. Guess how much?
Bleep it out.
What girl asked you how much you weigh?
148.
So is that right in the range?
I had my head. I don't know.
I would have been under.
I
had my heavy boots on. But
You're also tall.
I usually empty my pockets when
That doesn't seem crazy.
I weighed 130.
my clothes are shrinking.
130.
Well, but that's the metric
What?
system. But then,
Oh, kilograms, yeah.
so what is it? I didn't even convert that. It's pretty high. So
More math than you want to do.
that's what I thought. So are you saying?
Look, you're under 300 pounds.
Yeah, that's. I have a pretty lofty goal of not getting to that figure, which
Yeah.
I've been able to hang on to hopefully.
Anyway,
I think
just had to share that.
I think I did stabilize because with Thomas, I was consistently around the 230 mark, and then he came along, and it's really right when Thomas came along that all of a sudden my weight spiked.
The curve.
And I don't know what I was eating meals more regularly. I don't know what it was. Eating his baby food.
fault.
I was eating Thomas's baby. You want to finish that smashed up pumpkin stuff?
All right. I guess there's more for me.
Yeah, these jeans aren't exactly comfortable. I was going to wear sweats today, but
I told you I'm trying to lose weight because I also looked at.
Yeah,
the
he
scale.
also,
Are you kidding?
he
I
was,
looked at
he
the
was,
scale and went,
yeah,
it's
he
not-
says that's,
How much?
I was also-
How much do you think that I weigh?
man, you used to be,
I don't know. I can't judge men.
you are rocking about
I think it's
185.
really.
No,
I'm gonna say
I was
185.
gonna say it's kind of funny that I asked you to guess what I weigh because I don't honestly know what people weigh. Like I want to say 170, but I don't.
170, 185. I am flattered. 198.
Ooh, pushing the twos,
It's because you're muscle.
You played
Used to
football
be,
much bigger.
yeah.
What was your peak weight at football?
Oh, in
Two
football, I was like 205. But I was
you were
in better
roided. You were
shape.
roided
Yeah,
out of your mind. There were roids.
Yeah. And then at the seminary, I wasn't playing football, but I was eating pizza and drinking beer.
there is
And
the
so I went
seminary
from
weight.
like 205 in shape to 240.
I was sitting with Reverend Schoen once at my last year of the sem. We said we are at the peak weight of our lives because at the sem you just don't work out. You just eat a lot of bad foods.
Well, yeah,
and drink
you're
beer.
doing homework and you're drinking beer and eating pizza
there's
and like hanging out way too late and eating more pizza and drinking more beer, and then next thing you know, you're 60 pounds up. Going, wait, what? How did that?
Did you have? We had the new. You guys had the new gym, but our weight room used to be like smaller than a classroom. That nobody went to. A machine, and so nobody did it because,
We did.
that's so keep that in.
I was. I
keep
don't
that
know
in.
what's gonna stay in.
Yeah, well,
Cut the whole thing.
I think all of
gone.
that in. Guess our
That
weight.
was a
Guess
conversation.
our weight, and send it in. Get the comments how much we weigh. So, hey, some upcoming events we do in December. Starting December 3rd, we have midweek worship services. We're doing something different on the first one. We're going to do kind of a devotional but family night, and one of the things we're going to come together and kind of combine our Christmas for kids that we have every year with something we can do with families, like a gingerbread family night. Maddie was talking about. We're going to, one of the things, have the families all make a gingerbread house, but then have a devotional thought in there as well, just something a little bit different. And then we have the next two Wednesdays, the 10th and the 17th, our worship services that will have themes that fit with Christmas approaching. And then we get to Christmas. Christmas Eve is in the middle of the week this year, so we're going to have the kids' service, I think, still at 6 o'clock, the children's program they put on from our Sunday school program, and then at 8 o'clock a candlelight service. That's completely different for maybe some of those that don't come to the children's one. And then we have a Christmas Day, kind of lessons and carols. It's on the 25th. I know you do something special. You kind of work things on Christmas Eve, and you're probably in the works with something like that too.
Yeah, we shall see. We've got more moving pieces with getting our rental property.
Yeah, because it's a little different.
Yeah,
It's not
because
on the
we have
Sunday.
it for Sundays and not, so we have to work with them. But yeah, we will hopefully have a Christmas Eve worship service.
Yeah, and otherwise, like the midweek ones, we try to combine our churches a little bit. It's nice for some people then to get back over this way and see friends and everything. So it works out. Other things coming up. I'm not sure if there's too much else coming up. What about these questions? You want to take? There's one from left to 1, 2, 3, 4. Which one you want to do? If you go the one that we didn't talk about, and then you do these three. I'm trying to figure out which question to take. I'm letting Pastor Jenswold pick which one. If you wait too long, we'll see you next time.
No, you can. Yep, there we go. I've done my job. Until next time. Yeah, any of them.
Well, there was one oldie but goodie that people wanted to ask us about. When churches were shutting down during COVID, why did we comply with what came out for a while? And it was interesting because the state of Kansas came out and said we had to do it. And I think it was the very next day that Governor Kelly said she would leave it up to churches to decide, almost gave an exemption. And it's my thinking that there were some of the larger churches in the state said that we're crossing over church and state, that the state cannot control what the church is doing, so they backed off. I think someone really must have got to Governor Kelly and said, this is a battle you don't want to fight. And so all of a sudden then we were given the option of whether we could still meet. Because remember, it was 50 or less, they've talked for a while. And we said, well, we have a few more than that. And then they kind of opened up and said, churches, you do what you want to do. It became, at least for us, it was a matter of what is the best, safest thing to do at the time. And it wasn't run by any mandate that came through that say you had to comply, because they did back off on that. But there were some that maybe went a little bit extreme on saying churches should have just kept going. That's ridiculous for us to stop having worship services. We went totally online, which has given us the blessing of Zoom to this day for things, because I had never done that before. But we were shut down from March into June, I think it was, and that was. We met as a congregation, as leadership, and we would discuss, when it was safe to do so. But it was never because we were mandated to do so, because we felt this was, let's do what we think is best. And different churches did different things. I mean, there's all sorts of goofy arrangements made that this first service, masks will be required, second service not. I don't know, when you were in Kansas City, we shut down, the whole circuit kind of shut down, didn't it?
Yeah, I remember discussions like that at our circuit meetings. And again, it's hard, hard to put yourself back into that mindset and all the decisions. But what I vaguely remember is right away, I think it was sort of, no one understood. No one understood what was going on, and they said, hey, for safety, it might be best that we shut down for the sake of the older people or those who are compromised, right? And so right away, we all shut down just out of love, quite frankly. Like, okay, let's love those who maybe need the help right now. We won't get together. We'll find other ways to do this. Zoom. I sent out weekly video devotions at that time too. Some Bible classes that I'd set up PowerPoint-wise that you could follow along with. Whatever we could do that way. Then I think once people start to think, like, oh, maybe we should be getting back together, and it let's be honest, it divided on political lines, right? Of like, let's get back together versus let's not. And I think at that point, then you start to, what is the most loving thing I can do for all of the people that I want to be able to reach? Because whether we could come back or not come back, is it really worth the press of being the church who oh, well, they're open, they're doing it full time, and so then you're going to lose some people who will never come and hear about Jesus because you did that. So it started to become a balancing act of taking care of our people, but also demonstrating love for the world and the community around us that we want to be able to have Jesus conversations with. And maybe if we so blatantly put our foot down and don't follow guidelines and all these things, whether we like them or not, whether we needed them or not, maybe the loving thing was to go along with that. So
I found the tightrope to walk at that time was we had some members that very cautious, like we shouldn't even be around other people. And then we had one family that ultimately was one of the reasons they left the church, is they said, this is all almost to the point of being a hoax. Even we had masks here because we said for some of the early times we got back that we would ask people to wear masks, and we had them when people came in that didn't have them, said, we have masks for you. And I remember they kicked against that, and not even taking a stance on it, just saying this is what we decided is maybe best on the side of caution. I just remember them saying, what, I can't believe we're buying into this. We're kind of saying we as a church were, because we were being cautious and not picking a side, but saying, okay, this is where we should be. But I think to make it clear that it wasn't a mandate. It was just finally
be all things to all people.
Yeah, what can we do that's best without thumbing your nose at it or insisting and hey, what some were saying, well, trust in God. He certainly wouldn't have anything effective. Well, we trust in God doesn't mean that you can't be cautious with health things. Would
you have an appendix surgery if your appendix burst?
Yeah. So.
Nope, I won't. I'm going to trust in God.
Like when I get this tooth out, I still got this tooth.
I'm surprised your brain hasn't rotted yet.
I know last time some of you concerned I'd even be here because I got this tooth that is kind of misfected. I'm going to get it. Don't worry. I'm got to make an appointment. It's a little fruity. I might knock it out myself. I might just kind of take a screwdriver and knock that out and save $80. So
a screwdriver seems like the worst tool, but go on.
It's already infected, so what I mean,
this is gonna cause hammer, pliers. You think of 100 other things. A rope?
I thought like
No, I'm going to unscrew this.
No, I thought
what
like
we're
just
gonna
the blunt end of a Phillips. You know, just pop that thing in
That
there.
seems even worse. Like a flathead screwdriver, maybe, to like
Yeah.
chisel it out. But like,
Maybe, yeah. I was thinking.
I was thinking like one of those glasses-sized Phillips head screwdrivers.
I was thinking we always have a screwdriver in the drawer in the kitchen. You know, I didn't have to go in the garage and take out a lot of tools. Just grab that thing and put the right head in it. And just little force
tie
trauma.
a string to it and tie it to your feral cat outside.
It's not like one of my loose
See what
front
happens.
choppers from when I was a 7-year-old. It's not that. You know, this is suckers in
know.
there. It's like a crown, man. It's on top of
It's
something.
rotting. I don't know.
Yeah,
how
it'll probably
it's-
just fall right out. So
probably just do its thing.
yeah, so that wasn't one of the questions. I just wanted to set some of the people at ease. So okay, here's another question. You want to talk about these guys, the Nephilim? So
Sure.
do you read and shed what?
Continue on.
You read
I
it?
think my nose is bleeding.
What?
no.
We're-
Kleenex.
Whoa! We're gonna keep going. We're gonna keep plowing through this.
Go ahead.
It's the high altitude we're at here. So
Can't.
then if you're reading in Genesis chapter 6, and you come across this term about the Nephilim, some kind of giant people, and you get people saying, is this from it talks about, the children, sons of God? What's the terminology again? That married the sons of man?
The sons of God saw that the daughters of man.
And so then they talk about, are we talking about angels that were marrying with women? And so you have these kind of bizarre super creatures out there. And really that's trying to, all of a sudden angels are introduced in that because they're saying, well, there must be some kind of
I
divine
think the
beings.
sons of God reference. They're like, oh
Yeah.
yeah, those must be angels.
There you
but
go.
That'd be sort of a unique.
So that's a stretch. We think Goliath, with David and Goliath, was probably a Nephilim, a very, extraordinarily large man. And we were talking about this previously. You kind of had a good explanation for what really it is. It's not all that complicated.
No, yeah, I think if you read there, you don't have to jump to the sons. Again, I had another thought just as you were saying that. I don't know if sons of God is ever used for angels.
No,
I don't think that's a term that's ever used. So to suddenly take the sons of God to mean angels were marrying the women of mankind, I think that'd be a very unique usage of that phrase. Instead, I think you have sons of God marrying the daughters of men, as in those who are of the flesh, right? Like of this world. So you get believers marrying the unbelievers and ending up with these heroes of renown, right? These great warrior types and things like that. And then it's right after that that God says he's about to wipe out the earth, right? With the flood. So, these great hero men were maybe not great people. They certainly weren't believers in the Lord God.
I think I'd be better at my Bible app on here and finding this. But
I don't think
the sons of God saw that the daughters of humans were beautiful, and they married any of them they chose. And it says, the Nephilim were on the earth in those days, and also afterwards, when the sons of God went to the daughters of humans, had children by them. They were the heroes of
daughters
old men
of
of
human,
renown.
whatever translation that is, that's already making it sound.
It's the NIV, the newer NIV.
Yeah, it's just man. It's
Yeah, it does it when it went to the daughters of humans.
Human leans a direction that the original Hebrew there doesn't lean.
Sons of God went to the daughters of humans. That's where people
Right.
think, so that must be divine with mortal.
It's just daughters of man.
Yeah, that's one of the things, and this is probably a whole different thing, when the NIV revised itself, they wanted to do this gender all-inclusive, and so very often when it said men, they changed it to men and women. And unfortunately, or to humans, humankind even instead of mankind. Unfortunately, they kind of went a little bit overboard, in my opinion and the opinion of others, that almost any time it said men, they changed it to humans or to men and women. And here's an example of it. It doesn't say humans.
Yeah, that would be one.
And so when it says, my spirit will not contend with humans forever, with man forever, okay, for they are mortal. But when it talks about...
So you have two examples here, actually, of the same word
and it's not
being used in different... So the human... The sons of God saw that the daughters of man, not humans, man would be a better translation there. And then you get to God saying, my spirit will not contend with, and there it is probably mankind, right?
Yep.
Will not contend with all of mankind, not just men,
so the context,
forever.
The context always matters, and there was a little bit of an uproar over some saying they weren't careful in that, because sometimes it is just men or it is just man. And I just say, well, every time you got to make that gender inclusive and say, humans or humankind or men and women or brothers and sisters is another one.
Here's the thing, though. I think so much time, the context will let you know, right? Like what you need to do.
And to really get fascinated by this Nephilim and they're heroes of old, men of renown. Well, you think of Goliath. I mean, he was a hero of old,
Yeah. Why didn't they do humans of renown? They were men of old, heroes of heroes of old, humans of renown.
See, there's no consistency.
Yeah, I don't know. So
regretted that he had made human beings on the earth, not just man on the earth. It's human beings. Yeah.
I mean, that's it. Yeah, I can get on board for that one.
Yeah. See, that's where you can make the change. So yeah. No, there's
not half breeds.
Not angels. No, not angels. No. Okay, good. Got some time yet? How about the difference between hiring a pastor and calling a pastor? Is it the same? We call pastors within our church body. There are many churches today that hire. Short answers, yeah, they're not the same.
They're not quite the same. I'm trying to think of like a concise way to address this one, right?
Hiring usually involves you come in and they'll listen to you preach. We had a Baptist church across the street from when I was growing up, and on certain Sundays when they didn't have a pastor, they would have men come in to pretty much conduct a service, and then they would hire. And we don't hire because we believe it's a call. God, through his church, calls men to serve in that position. Even the background of it, some of the hiring, you look at the schooling, there's schooling required on our part when you talk about college and the seminary and all the years that we put in. Sometimes with the hiring, there's, you preach a good sermon and you were helped out at a church somewhere and seemed to be a godly person. It's just, so you go in for an interview and they say, how can you run a church service? Well, that was pretty interesting. And, yeah, we don't fly. If we are called to another church, for the most part, we don't fly in to interview with anyone. They have a list of men provided by our district president from other churches if you are without a pastor. And the voters of the congregation then believe the Holy Spirit works with us in choosing one to call who has that option of coming or not coming. And the hiring, though, is, that's more or less interview driven, I think.
I would say, so, I mean, you don't have to not ever meet the person. You could interview and find a pastor who fits your criteria and who has the gifts and the qualifications, all of these things. You could interview and figure it out. I think like just the calling on top, like it's by God, right, through his Holy Spirit that he gives men to his church to lead and to shepherd, right, be under shepherds of the good shepherd. And a call then, it has to come from a congregation, and why that's important is because this congregation as a whole is asking this man to care for them spiritually, right? You can't, if you aren't all consenting to that, if you're not all saying, yes, we understand that you're qualified to do so, God has put you in a position to do this, and we are putting ourselves under your spiritual care. If you're just hiring a guy, what are you, like, you're just hiring him to preach, to teach Bible classes, to do what? Right? Like hiring implies that he's just a guy who works for this building, and if I don't like him, it doesn't matter. A call says, I am willingly putting myself under his spiritual care, and I want him to care about my eternity, right? Like, so, no, we don't hire our pastors because it takes consent from the people. It takes that body to willingly say, no, we're going to follow this shepherd, not because he's great, but because he's an under shepherd of the good shepherd.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, and I think when you look at the qualifications and schooling and everything involved, it comes into play. So
it has, and Timothy 3.
Hiring would also imply you could be fired.
Right.
So
yeah. Right.
It's performance.
It's another
based,
part.
Maybe performance based. So, maybe time for the last one. Are Christmas trees pagan? Well, run. Yeah, they are. So we don't have a tree. No. there are so many things in a Christmas tree that symbolize Christianity. Evergreen, life, the light of the world. Usually have a star on the top, angel on the top. What am I missing? Just there's
Interestingly, Martin Luther might have had the first one.
and they talk about Martin Luther having the first one. I don't know. He did put candles on his tree, which is a fire hazard. So if you're reenacting Luther's Christmas tree, put candles on that sucker. I don't know how many. They talk. Yeah, I don't know if the Black Plague took a lot of people back then. It's probably their Christmas trees lighting on fire. So
I hear little people.
yeah, the little children are coming, and we're talking about Jericho in chapel today. So do all those things about subscribe, hit the button, tell your friends, copy this. Now you know how
Call
much
your mother.
Unless it gets cut, you know how much we all weigh. So you learned some important things today.
You won't know how much we all weigh.
Mine's in kilograms, so right? So you don't know mine unless you're Canadian or whatever they follow that. So
Wherever
I guess we're out.
kilograms are.
So until next time, God bless. Take care. We'll see you again.
Thank you for listening to the Messiah Victory podcast. Check out the show notes or video description to find our websites, socials, and the anonymous survey link where you can ask questions, request a topic for discussion, or just leave a comment.